What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody had a great week. I definitely did. Tonight we have another amazing guest. She's a coach, she's a mentor, she's a leader in her community and in her field. She is Coach Dawn Thornton. She is the women's basketball coach at Alabama A&M University. She is a pillar of her community. You name it, she does it. This is one of the ones that I was really excited to do. I was very interested to hear her story and just get a little background on the who's, what's, and whys of what she does. For those of you who may not be familiar with Coach Thornton, I'm going to give her a moment to kind of reintroduce herself and just give a little background on who she is and some of the things that she has going on. So with that being said, Coach, you have the floor.
What's up, Mike? First off, thank you so much for allowing me to share this space with you. You and your following. It means a lot to me, especially for me to be here sitting with you on a Friday night when I could be relaxing with my feet kicked up before we play tomorrow. But I definitely do appreciate it, and I would have picked it 1,000 times over. But just to tell you a little bit about myself, I started coaching college basketball at Tougaloo College, right outside of Jackson, Mississippi. That was my first coaching job at an NAIA school, back from where I'm from. I left Tougaloo and I did 6 years at Prairie View A&M University, 3 years as an assistant, 3 years as a head coach. Transitioned from there to Shorter University in Rome, Georgia, a Division II school, to Jacksonville, Florida, to UAPB, right now to Alabama A&M. So it's a blessing to be in Huntsville. My family loves it here. It's just a beautiful place to be, and I'm so thankful that God has given me an opportunity to continue to do the things that I love to do.
That is amazing. We were talking a little bit offline about a little bit about your background and everything. And when I came across your page and your profile, I was really interested in your movement, particularly the whole HBCU aspect of it, because I personally feel like, not just in basketball, but just in sports in general, these athletes that are going to the Alabama A&Ms and the FAMUs and the Hamptons and they don't necessarily get the shine or that they are deserved. There's a bunch of amazing athletes, amazing teams that are doing great things, but because of proximity or whatever region or whatever conference they're in, or because it's a HBCU, they don't necessarily get their just due as far as attention, which I'm sure bleeds into I'm sure there are athletes that want to go to the next level. It kind of hinders their progress in that. But then I was kind of joking with you a little too about you in particular, as far as the notoriety that you've gained over the years for various reasons, and so it just kind of made it all the more interesting. So I guess we just start from the beginning. I was watching an interview that you did some time back, and you were saying how you wanted to be a coach since you were in the 7th grade, and I thought that was very interesting, because usually when you're that age, you're like, man, I want to go to the pros, or I want to, this, but you want to be a coach. So can you kind of talk about that?
I really don't know, Mike. When I started playing organized sports, playing basketball, growing up, I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be like the little majorette girls or whatever, Mm-hmm. And so my dad told me that I could do that, but I was going to have to go to basketball practice first. And so when I started playing in the 7th grade, being a African-American girl in Jackson, Mississippi, I had a Caucasian female as my first basketball coach. And the way that she spoke, the way that she nurtured, the way that she cared herself, the way that she represented us at Power Middle School, really, it just stuck with me. And I was like, this, she had so much power in that moment of, of, not, I don't know if the word is power, so much, so influence. She had
Yeah.
so much influence on my life, you know, influence on my life when I was in middle school. And I said, I want to be able to reach young girls like that when I'm her age. And from that moment, I knew that that's what I wanted to do.
I thought that was super super interesting. And fast forwarding, you got a chance to actually be a coach. Could you talk about? I mean, I know you talked about it in the intro, but could you talk about your first experience as a coach, being in control of a team?
Let me tell you about my story. I was an assistant coach at Prairie View for 3 seasons, and we were just coming off of three back-to-back-to-back championships. 2010, 2011 SWAC championships, all the way to 2013. My head coach left to go to Baylor University, and she called me and she said, Dawn, do you want to be the head coach? And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she was like, I need to know right now. And I said, yes, I do. And so I was really excited about that opportunity. And I'm sure I made a lot of mistakes as a first year head coach. But one of the biggest lessons that I learned, I started that season off 0-11. And that was very difficult for me because they made me interim that year. But I started off 0-11, and we're coming off three back-to-back-to-back championships. And we're going into conference, and now the expectations are already set high because that's what we do. We win, right?
Right.
And we were losing in conference. We had started off 0-2 in conference. So that long losing streak really kind of expanded during that time. And I remember telling myself, wait a minute, sister girl. And that's probably not how I said it to myself. But I said, you got to get yourself together because you are enough. God put you in this position for a reason. Look yourself in the mirror, own what you need to change, do what you need to do differently, take accountability of it, and win. And as soon as I did that, I had a real heart to heart conversation with my team. And I told them how difficult it was for me in that transition. And I recruited these kids because I was an assistant coach before I became the head coach. And they was like, Coach, we rocking with you. What we doing? We turned around and won a championship that year, that same season. And then I was also nominated HBCU Female Coach of the Year for such a big turnaround. And God is so good, and I'm just so thankful that that's one of the most meaningful stories, in my opinion.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Um, Talking about recruiting, um, especially now with NIL and all these things coming into play. Um, what has that made your journey a little bit easier, or is it? I mean, what has that affected you at all?
You know, I've recruited kids that have been receiving NIL money prior to coming to play for me at my previous institution. And those young women really didn't care about the money. They just wanted an opportunity. A lot of people had given up on them and really pushed them to the side. And so I would like to think that I did a really great job as far as promoting them and building them and uplifting them, to giving them a platform to continue to play the game that they love. However, I have kids that's on my team now at A&M that was also receiving NIL money from the collective. And those young women don't really, it doesn't really phase them one way or another. We are able to do some form of the collective to our young women at A&M, and they're very appreciative and grateful for that. And I'm thankful that they have that spirit inside of them, to where they can understand that because we're at an HBCU, our resources are limited. But what we do have, we're going to share with you to make sure that your experience is wonderful at A&M.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, being an assistant coach and then moving into the seat of, of a head coach, of course, the responsibilities change. There are a lot more things that you are kind of responsible for and accountable to. If you could name like one thing, about yourself that you didn't know about yourself prior to this, what would you say is one thing you learned about yourself that you might not have known about yourself prior to going into, this experience and into this journey?
I was raised the hard way. My parents were like, whatever you start, you're gonna finish. You say you're gonna do something, you show up and you do it. So for me, just being 100% transparent, everything that I do that goes into my preparation and the way that I build brands and the way that I increase influence to the universities, if I will be correctly speaking, it's just a little different for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I have tunnel vision. I want it all. I want to win it all. I want to be the best. I want to look the best. I want to be the example. I want my team to be in that light. And in everything that we do around surrounding that program, even me as a coach, as an individual, I make moves in order to put us and continue to keep us in that light.
That's awesome. So I kind of alluded earlier to the notoriety that you've received over, the last few years for, your personality and for your style, of, the way you dress, these type of things, right? And I guess you kind of alluded to it a second ago when you said as much. Basically, you're trying to bring attention to the program. So, and I saw that they call you the diva coach. Where did that come from? Like, when did you kind of take on this not only coaching thing, but you taking on, not to say that it's a character, because that's not a good word, but just or better yet, have you always been that way as far when it came to coaching, being very stylish and very, flamboyant?
I have. It's funny because now social media is so prevalent. It's everything is right here in the click of your hands, and so I've always been really stylish. And I've done things outside of the box. I know when we were winning championships when I was at Prairie View, I would only pack one suit. I would take one suit. Most of everybody would pack for three. And I said, God guaranteed me one, and I would work really, really, really hard to deserve to have another outfit for the next day. So we win.
Wow.
I'll get up and be in the Galleria at 10 o'clock in the morning, going through the mall, trying to figure out what I'm going to wear for that same day. And
Right.
enjoyed that. I mean, who says it has to be hard? Who says that
Yeah.
you can't have fun by doing what you love? And I think that's the way I look at it. I absolutely love what I do. And so I don't feel like I have to be in a box
Right.
to be me and still love what I do.
Right.
And so I just feel like it's time. We're at a point, 2025, COVID has allowed us to appreciate life from a different perspective. And
That's a fact.
the thing that we're going to do is love on each other and celebrate each other. But one thing that I'm going to do is continue to be me. because there's other young Black girls, people of different backgrounds looking up to me saying, I want to be just like her. And I don't take that lightly.
That's awesome. So your fashion choices, for instance, is that all you, or do you have a team? Do you have a stylist, or whatever? Is that all you?
I have a stylist this year. Shout out to Tanya Pugh Johnson out of 16th Cross Pearson in Birmingham, Alabama. She is my stylist. We
Okay.
linked up this year. I didn't know her. We just got connected with each other, and it just like spread like wildfire. Wildfire. It's like, let's go. And so she's done a really great job as far as helping me brand myself. And everybody calls me the diva coach. But what does that really look like? And what is behind the name? And that's what we want to be able to unfold, because it's bigger than just basketball. Basketball is just a very, very, very small piece of what we do on a daily basis. And I want to be able to shine that light in everything that I do and the way I dress.
Wow, that's amazing. The last probably 5 or 10 years, I know, like me, I the first female basketball player that I actually admired probably was Dawn Staley. That's the
Yeah.
very first one that I ever was like, yo, she's nice, was Dawn Staley. And as the years progress, you have the Shamika Holds clause and the Tamika Catchings and the Candace Parkers, and the list goes on and on. Tina Thompson and Lisa Leslie and all these things. As the years go on and on and on, it's kind of grown. The women's athletics and college, and now fast forward, now you have Juju and Paige and Angel and Caitlin and all these things. And I say that to say, like, as a person who's in it, who's actually in it as a coach, and you're seeing, the progression. What is your impression of how women's athletics have grown over the years? Like, where do you see, how do you feel about the direction? Because like you said earlier, it has become more colorful. It has become more fashionable. You're seeing women branding, branding themselves, these type of things. What is your opinion on how the direction that it's taken over the years?
I think it's a beautiful thing. One thing about women, we always try to find a way to express ourselves. I mean, that's who we are. We're nurturing, we're loving. That's just kind of what we do. And and as deeply as we feel a lot of times when we walk in rooms and people don't treat us the same, or people don't view us the same, it's one thing for you to feel like you have to do something the way other people have been doing it. Who's to say? I mean, just think about the way NBA players used to dress back in the day, fur coats and rings on
Yeah.
fingers, and so elaborate, so over the top, these lavish lifestyles, right? And now women want to come in and express themselves by the way that they dress, the way that they carry themselves. When I was in college, I looked up to Tina Thompson. Tina Thompson wore red lipstick and blue eyeshadow. She had a full beat when she was getting ready to play. I wore red lipstick and blue eyeshadow when I was hooping in college, because I love the way that she expressed herself, and because I was a girly girl in college, I wanted to be able to express myself, and not be looked at any differently because of the way that I choose to do so. So I think that I'm glad that we are evolving to a position and a platform to where we can express those type of things. Because I think that that's the way that we are. That's the way that we're trending. That's the way women in sports are trending right now.
It's amazing. Um, let's go back to kind of recruiting. Back to back to recruiting. Um, do you feel like you personally, because I know you can't speak for other programs, but for you personally, um, now with the introduction of the transfer portals and all this and that, um, how much importance do you place on actual recruiting, like when out of high school versus athletes that are coming through the transfer portal?
Well, I'm a portal girl. So I love recruiting kids out of the portal, but I also love junior college kids. And I sign 1 to 2 freshmen every year, high school freshmen. So freshmen, high school kids every year. And so I try to have that balance. Not a lot of freshman kids make it, with me, because they have to wait their turn. You know what I'm saying? When you're recruiting kids to come out of the portal, you're recruiting kids to come in right now that can help you right now. You put them around a good group of freshmen that have a great foundation, and as those freshmen matriculate up, they should be in a position. But if you get freshmen to come in that doesn't really understand the law of the land, or if you have somebody special enough, gangster enough to say, you know what, hey, nah, look at me. Those kids coming
Yeah.
down too. So those are the ones you want. Those are the ones you hope to get. But the ones that don't, you want them to be able to understand the process.
I I thought about you last night. I was watching a documentary about this young lady. Her name is, I don't know if you probably know about her already, but her name is Kalina Smith. She's like, I think she's like 15 or 16, and they already said she's the best girl basketball player in the country, irregardless college, whatever, right? And because she plays with she plays with adults. She doesn't play with anything but adults. Even when she was 12, she was playing with 16, 17-year olds. And I was thinking to myself, like, which is why I asked you the question. I was thinking to myself, somebody like that. And matter of fact, on the documentary, Dawn Staley called her at home and offered her a scholarship then, like when she was just like in the 9th grade. And I was thinking to myself, is it a challenge? Do you feel like it's a challenge to even have access to kids like that versus the Dawn Staleys of the world and others? Or do you just do what you do? And then if it works, then it works. Or do you even, or does it even, do you even bother? You know what I mean? Because I know you were saying that you mainly go towards the transfer portal and junior college athletes. But yeah, like I said, I was thinking to myself, do you feel like there's a challenge for you to even gain access to these type of kids?
Without me giving the cheat code out, I recruit to dominate my platform. So it's a different pool, and that's not my ministry. Recruiting the top 50 kids in the country, top 100 kids in the country. That's not my ministry. My ministry is to know who they are, because if they do go to the South Carolinas, to the Texas Techs, to the Ole Misses, to the, I very well may have opportunities to get them back. So that's important to me also. But to be honest with you, I don't really focus on that so much. I think I know exactly who you're talking about, the kid that you had mentioned. I believe I watched her play something. I saw something on Instagram or something about her. But we just recruit to dominate our platform. And I think that that helps me with tunnel vision of knowing what and what pieces to put together so I can be successful.
I think maybe we're having some.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, we had like a little glitch there going on. Yeah, I can hear you. Well, what was the
Okay.
last thing that you said?
No, I was just saying, just for me though, being able to recruit those kids in the portal, that's what's important to me. And so as long as we can put together the right mix that we could be successful at A&M is what's important. I can't focus on kids that's kind of out of my league, and I'm okay with saying that. I'm okay with saying that. I don't want to, you got to really look at it from a standpoint
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
we can't afford to bring kids on our campuses and spend our recruiting dollars with kids that's not serious about us. So, if a kid says that they're looking to go P4, then you know that they're gonna waste your time on your campus. And I'd rather give that attention to
Right,
someone know that
right,
that's
right.
vested. Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, you were saying that you went to Jackson State and you were from the area, and then of course, and more recently, we've seen Coach Prime come through and do the things that he's done for that area, that region, um, coming through, and even not just for Jackson State, but just for the whole, just for the whole of the conference and just
Yeah.
HBCUs as yeah, HBCUs as a whole. Um, it actually made me pay more attention. I'm if I'm being transparent, it made me pay more attention to what actually was going on. I actually live in like MEAC country. Um, like I live in Virginia. I'm from New York, but I live in Virginia, and it's just a whole different it's just a whole different culture. Like HBCUs versus regular. It's just such a rich, and it's just a rich tradition, and it's so much, like you said, color and creativity and whatever. And it's almost like it's a shame that it's taken this long for it to be. But anyway, what is Coach Thornton's goal? Like, is it your goal to, coach at the next level, or is this where you intend to be? Like, is this, what you set out to do and be, um, within the SWAC, within the HBCU arena? Um, or do you feel like if an opportunity came, would you consider, maybe taking in a position at the next level?
I really truly believe that God has me in Huntsville right now, for a reason. And I really believe that that story is beautifully writing itself as we speak. Um, I pray that God always guides me to be able to be in a great situation and working for wonderful people. And I don't know how long I'm going to be at A&M, and I don't know what's next for me. But I do have desires to move around outside of an HBCU conference, just to be able to experience what's that like as well. But again, preferably, I just would like for the situation to make sense. I don't believe I won't leave a job just to take another job, just to say, hey, I got out the conference, because
Right.
absolutely honest with you, with the resources that we have, the facilities that we have more to offer kids than a lot of these mid-major schools do. And I'm thankful for that. So you also have to be mindful of what you're going to get yourself into at the next place. So as long as God orders my steps, then I'm good.
I definitely respect that. I definitely respect that. Um, like I was saying earlier, I've watched a few of the appearances that you've made and a few of the interviews that you've done, and you emphasized one thing in every interview. You were very consistent, and that's when you talked about community. Um, I was interested to know, like, when you say community, are you talking about the just Alabama A&M? Are you talking about Huntsville? What when you talk about reaching out and to the community and ingratiating yourself in the program with the community, who are you speaking of specifically, and what how do you feel like you're doing with the community? How has the community received received you in the program since you've been there? What's your impression? What has your impression been?
When I first got here, it was very important to me to link up with a lot of the pastors in the area. We already had a team chaplain who has been there for us spiritually every step of the way. But it was also important to me to reach out to other ministers. We went to all of the hole in the wall mom and pop soul food joints. We at the barbershops. I'm at the beauty salons. I believe in supporting our people, but I also believe in supporting small businesses as well. And so I did a really good job as far as making those relationships and developing those relationships when I first got here, and really putting the young women in that same type of spotlight to engage with a lot of these same businesses and people coming in service roles to them. So all of that stuff is really, really important to me, and really putting it all together. I do believe in being an advocate for the community. Those are the people that we want praying for us. My son goes to school in the community. Like, we're going to read at his school next week for Black History Month. So it is very important. And when you're saying who, yeah, I'm talking about the campus. We talking about the neighborhood behind campus. We talking about the neighborhood 20 minutes up the road from campus. We talking about the city 40 minutes down the street from campus. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to touch. That's what we're trying to reach.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There's kind of a term that I kind of like. I guess I've never heard anybody use it, so I say I made it up. It's called community social. No, it's not community. It's so-called social equity, and that's what you're. When I hear you talk about that, so that's what I'm talking about. We have to build social equity within our communities and within the people within the communities. Like you were saying, with the churches and the business owners, it's important to build social equity. Like, I was joking with somebody about when we were talking about it, and I was like, social equity will make people burn the whole entire city down except for your store or your school or your house, because you have built so much equity. They'll burn everything around it except your stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what I believe social equity, why, one reason that social equity is so important. Moving forward, I mean, how much attention do you pay to the country, around the country, as far as the basketball is concerned? Like, do you pay? Do you study? Do you study what's going on? Around the country, or do you just kind of like stay kind of insulated? Um, within the SWAC or just within Alabama, or are you familiar with other players? Are you familiar with other,
Program.
situations?
Yeah.
And if so, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. No, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I'm listening.
Yeah, yeah, I was, yeah, just wondering, do you pay attention to what's going on, you know, around the country, or are you, kind of insulated to to your situation? You're right. What's going on right now. As a coach, how important is it for you to pay attention to certain trends that are going on, from season to season? Like, this may be the season of the center, and next year might be the season of the wing. You know what I'm saying? The next season it might be, I don't know, whatever. But how much attention do you pay in terms of that, like, or like I said, or do you?
That's a good question. I think sometimes I pay attention. Well, there's always people and programs that I'm very fond of that I like. Um, I have quite a few friends that's coaching on a P4 level. And so I always try to continue to stay engaged with them and communicate with them throughout the season. But certain parts of my season, too, I want to be, insulated, not really focused on anything, just kind of with that tunnel vision in mind. And so I do have moments of that, too. So I think it just depends on what part of the season are we in. I think it's easy in the beginning of the season to focus on yourself. And as you get comfortable, and you can kind of start seeing your team's identity, then you can kind of focus on, other things. But, you don't want to focus on other things when you don't have your own self where you feel like you should be. That's my personal opinion.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. um as I was researching, I found that your husband is also in the coaching ranks within the same university. Um, has that been a challenge? Two different sports, two different schedules, two different agendas, I guess, so to speak. Um, how have you guys been able to navigate, that whole dynamic? Because I think it's dope that you guys are at the same university. That's super dope. But how have you been able to, manage that, that whole thing? Because like I said, the schedules probably are different. The dynamic is different. Different responsibilities, different demands. How have you guys been able to navigate that?
I think going in to the relationship with an open mindset of understanding what each other's goals and dreams are, being able to openly talk about the expectations of one another, being able to what does support look like? What does it look like when you're in transition from one job to the next? What does it look like on a winning season? What does it look like on a losing season? And I think that if you can get an understanding of what that is, as we do, as we've always done, it just puts you in a situation to where um, it's not as difficult as people on the outside may see it to be. It has always helped that I've been in a position to be a head coach, and he's worked under some great head coaches that allowed him to be able to support and be there for us. So that was very important as well. So I just think that those are one of those situations to where we laid that foundation of understanding from the beginning, and um, and having an understanding really carries you through difficult times, as well as helps you navigate when the schedules do align. Because it's fun though. My son gets to go to football season one season and one in the fall and basketball season in the spring. So, but it's been good. It's been really good. He's worked for some really great people.
This is a question that I usually ask people in your position, and that's the position of leadership. Um, there are a lot of things, like I said earlier, that you are accountable for, accountable to. Um, Things happen or don't happen based off your say so, right? So you're consistently in a mode of leadership. You're constantly in a mode of literally directing staff, players, media, situation, just community activism. This whole thing that surrounds your universe. Um, how hard is it for have you mastered your regular? And what I mean by that is, are you able to be that when it's time to be that? But then when
There you go.
can you hear me?
I can. Yes.
We having a little glitch situation, but
Glitchy
I'm
glitch.
sure it's gonna work itself out. It's gonna work itself out. Um, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can
Okay.
hear you. The question I was asking you was, being in that mode of leadership. Have you been able to master your regular? And what I mean by that is just being able to turn it off when it's time to and just be Dawn. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever nickname your family might have for you or whatever. Um, is it have you mastered your regular? Are you able to just be?
Yes, I think so. I definitely think so. But I think that that only comes when I'm like on vacation or something because I'm always attached to what's next. I'm always thinking about planning for the next season or what are we doing? Like my brain doesn't shut off from that. So that's why I love to travel. When I get an opportunity to travel, that's my time really to unplug and just focus on relaxing and just laying my hair down and having a good time. So, absolutely, I 100% have found a balance, and I get it. Yeah, that was necessary to reset.
Can you hear me? Okay, that looks like it's better. Um, I'm sorry, we had like a little glitch. Could you say that again? Like, have you
No,
been how have you been able to regular?
I was just saying that, I love to be able to take some time and go on vacation. That's my time to reset and really focus on me. So I like to think I got a good balance.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. What would you say is the most common misconception that people have about you?
Mm. Um, I'm mean. Then I'm mean. Yeah, I think that people will be like,
Why would they think that?
because I'm direct sometimes. Um, and a lot of times it's just because of my
Mm,
posture, where they're just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, I'm thinking like,
do you feel like being direct? Do you feel like that's
no, I think no,
no
not really.
being direct? Do you feel like that came from?
From coaching. Yeah, I mean, because we have to get from A to B so we can get C, right?
Hmm.
But no, I think that a lot of times people just don't really know how.
Right.
They really don't know how laid back I am. I'm a realist. You know what I'm saying? Like you could pick up the phone and call me, and I'm gonna talk. And I've always been that way. And so I don't think people. A lot of people don't know me
Hmm.
like that. See me, I am not me, not me.
I absolutely don't think you're mean. Like, again, I I'm I'm so appreciative that you even reach back, because it doesn't always happen like that. So I really appreciate you reaching back when I reached out. Um, especially can you hear me?
I can. Yes, I
Okay.
can.
So this is my last my final. Okay. This is my final question for you. It's a question that I ask all my guests. I just want you to take a moment and think about it, and give me the most honest and transparent answer that you could possibly give me. Okay. Um, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The question is this: what would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
I would say to see my son grow up and be a wonderful husband. To have completed school, gotten a college degree, whatever that looks like for him, operating in whatever it is that he has his mind set out to be, and be living and walking in his life. I would think that that would be it for me.
Okay, I accept that. That's okay. Short but sweet. Okay. Um, if somebody watched this interview and wanted you to expound on something, or maybe I don't know, heard your story and maybe wanted to, I don't know, have you speak somewhere. I don't know. How can they get in touch with you?
They can always email me. You can go to the Alabama A&M website and click staff directory and send me an email, or you can find me on Twitter. Send me a message on Twitter or Instagram, and I always get back with you. I would love to. They can ask you for my contact information too, so I don't mind.
Well, I want to. Awesome, awesome. Well, I would like to thank you again for coming on the platform. I truly appreciate it because, like you said, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. So I truly appreciate that. Um, I don't want to. I want to be, mindful of your time. But again, I want to thank you, and I wish you much blessings on going forward in the season. And trust me, I will be paying attention. I will be keeping my eyes on Alabama A&M, among others. But I think you've kind of gained a new fan. Uh, my daughter, she's she's just going into the ninth grade right now. Um, she can play, but she I don't know, she's unsure right now. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. But definitely, I will be definitely paying attention. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said, your daughter, she has time. She got time to figure it out.
This connection is crazy. Get you up offline. But again, I thank you again for coming on the platform. Like I said, I wish you much blessings on going forward in your season. Shout out to your team, shout out to your family, shout out to the whole, that being said, I'm gonna wish you an awesome night and an even more awesome weekend. Um, and hopefully I'll be able to have you on again, to kind of, because I feel like we just kind of scratched the surface, but um, I would love to talk X's and O's with you. So maybe, maybe down the road, but this is an open invitation. So whenever you feel, you're available, we definitely could do this again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anytime you need me, just
But
call me.
again, listen, I'm going to hold you to that. Thank you. Um, again, again, I want to thank you. And like I said, I'll shout out to your family, shout out to the program, shout out to your staff and the university as a whole. Um, and I absolutely will be, I will be absolutely checking for y'all even more, now. uh, and keep doing your thing, and keep, because you're definitely moving in the right direction, and you're definitely what we need as a representation of Black excellence, what we can be if we just take the time to step forward.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, you have a good night, and we definitely will talk offline. Um, I got to hit you up about something, but have a good night.
Thank you too. Bye.
There you go. Another great interview with another great guest. We had a little glitches here and there, but I want to do that interview again. Like I want to do a part 2 to that interview. I feel like it was just so much more. But I want to thank her again for coming on. Like I said, I want to wish much blessings to her program and everything that she's doing. Because she's, as she said earlier, she's not just speaking basketball. She's talking branding, being an example, community activism, philanthropy, all that stuff is goes into it. Basketball is kind of the vehicle that is taking her in the program to where they ultimately need to be. And individually speaking, the same thing. Our gifts, our talents, abilities, the things that we're able to create and produce are most of the time vehicles to lead us to our ultimate destiny and others. So, she's very important. What she's doing is very important on so many different levels. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for watching and bearing with us. As always, if there's something that you have a vision for, God has given you a vision for, and you feel like it's something that God gave you, step out. See God for provision, because where he gives vision, he gives provision. So with that being said, I want to encourage you guys, if it's a script, if it's a song, if it's a degree, if it's a job, if you want to be a basketball coach, whatever it is, if you're supposed to be a basketball coach or a dentist or whatever, step out, because this is your moment. This is your time. We need you. And that's about it. So thank you guys, and I will see you when I see you. Talk to you later.